Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at a few questions from the SAT math section. Here I have a select set of questions from practice test number 4. Now it's worth noting that anytime you have a practice test that is listed on the official SAT page, that just simply means that it was a test that existed in the past that wasn't like an actual test that people took for the SAT. So all these questions have been on the SAT previously. They're no longer running these particular questions anymore, but let's take a look at a few of these because it very well represents what some of the questions are that you're going to be taking a look at on the math section of the SAT. Now, I mentioned this in the last video, but the first half of the questions are significantly easier than the second half of the questions. And in this video, we're looking at questions 1 through 9 in a module of 27 questions. That means that these are going to be some of the easier questions. So if you're, struggling with the SAT and you need a little bit more practice with some of the easier questions, this is the video for you. If you're looking for more challenging questions, then the video for you might be coming out pretty soon. All right, so let's take a look at these questions here. This one here says, so this is number 1, gives a chart here. A group of students voted on 5 after-school activities. The bar graph shows the number of students who voted for each of the 5 activities. How many students chose activity 3? So this one's pretty straightforward. You just look at this graph here. Note that this is activity 3, right? So this bar represents activity 3. And it seems like it's some number between 35 and 40, leaning closer to 40. So what we're looking for in our answer is some answer that is between 35 and 40, and the only one that fits that bill is choice B. So we choose choice B, and there we go, we're good to go. All right, that one's pretty straightforward. The first question usually is, and it's usually some question about a chart. All right, let's take a look at number 2. What percentage of 300 is 75? So I'm going to go ahead and make a space to write an answer here. There we go. Zoom out here a little bit. And let's adjust the pencil stroke. Okay. So, question says, what percentage of 300 is 75? So let's go ahead and write this in mathematical writing. So the question says, what percentage of 300 is 75? So ignore the fact that this says percentage for right now, just for a brief moment. Just think of it as what number times 30 is 75, and then we'll work with the percentage in just a moment, okay? So let's work with just the number version of it for right now. So 300 times some number, let's call it x, okay? We're just arbitrarily picking a variable and we'll call it x, is equal to 75. Now, note that the solution to x here is not the answer to this question. It just gives us the number equivalent of the percentage that we're looking for. Okay, so we divide both sides by 300 in this expression, and we get x is equal to 75 300ths. We simplify 75 300ths to get x is equal to 1/4, or also known as x is equal to 0.25. Now, this is the number equivalent that we're looking for, so if we want it in the format of a percentage, then all we do is throw a percentage sign at the end and multiply this end result by 100. So we get 25%. Because when you multiply 100% by 0.25, you get 25%. So the answer here is 25%, which is choice A. All right. Okay, let's move on to question number 3. What is a solution to the given equation? Now, the fact that they say a solution instead of the solution is actually quite important here, but we'll see that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and make another page here for stuff to write on. And we'll go ahead and shrink that page down and bring it over here. All right. What is a solution to the given equation? So the expression is x squared divided by 25 is equal to 36. Okay, good. So it says, what is a solution to the given equation? Well, first of all, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and isolate x. So when they say a solution, what they mean is what is the value of x, as in what is the value of the variable associated with this equation such that this equation works, right? So what we want to do is we want to solve for x effectively. So let's go ahead and multiply both sides of this equation by 25. In doing so, we remove the 25 from the left-hand side and put it on the right-hand side. It just so happens that 36 times 25 is equal to 900, and you will have a calculator available for the test, so don't worry about calculating 36 times 25 by hand. And then let's take the square root of both sides. So the square root means what number multiplied by itself is equal to 900. So we get x is equal to, oh my goodness, I can't write today. X is equal to the square root of 900. So the square root of 900 means what number, when multiplied by itself, is equal to 900. There's actually two solutions to that. One is positive 30, and the other is negative 30, since 30 times 30 is 900, but also negative 30 times negative 30 is also 900. So it says, what is a solution to the given equation? Well, negative 30 doesn't show up here, so we just pick 30. Okay? And as you can see, I'm not guessing for any of these. I'm just solving the equation or whatever it asked to solve for, and then seeing if that is a choice. All right, let's take a look at question number 4. 3 more than 8 times the number x is equal to 83. Which equation represents this situation? All I'm going to do is rewrite what it gave me here in words, except in math. All right, ready? So let's put that right there. It says 3 more than 8 times the number x. So 3 more, this is 3 more, then 8 times the number x. 8 times the number x can be represented as 8x is equal to 83. So this whole thing here is equal to 83. Then all we have to do is decide which choice is what we just wrote. And it looks like the choice that we just wrote is choice D. Okay. Alrighty, so let's move on to question number 5. This one is an interpretation question. I like these ones because it's helpful for understanding vocabulary, especially if you're more suited towards the reading and writing section of the exam. These would be your sorts of questions if you understand the vocabulary of your math course instead of, for example, trying to just solve a whole bunch of problems. So let's go over this one. Hannah deposited a fixed amount into her bank account each month. The function f in terms of t equals 100 plus 25t gives the amount in dollars in Hannah's bank account after t monthly deposits. What is the best interpretation of 25 in this context? So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this expression here, this equation, this function rather. Ooh, I shrunk that way too much. There we go. Let's put that right there, I believe. Yep, there we go. All right, so it says f in terms of t is equal to 100 plus 25t. Okay? So it says Hannah deposited a fixed amount into her bank account each month. The function f in terms of t equals that gives the amount in dollars in Hannah's bank account after t monthly deposits. So t is the amount of monthly deposits, and f in terms of t represents the actual money in the bank account. So f in terms of t represents the money in the account, and t represents the number of monthly deposits. Okay, so now we can kind of interpret some of the other stuff in this question. For example, 100 in this case is representing the amount of money that the account started with, because if you let t equal 0, that means there are 0 monthly deposits. This part would be 0, and so the whole thing would just be 100. That means that the amount of money in the account when the account first started was $100. If, let's say, t was 1, then you would add $25 more to the account. So 25 represents the amount the account increases by in dollars every monthly deposit. So that is choice A, right? With each monthly deposit, the amount in Hannah's bank account is increased by $25. So the choice here is A. Okay. Now, this is one of the questions where you do have to theoretically read each of the choices and determine if one choice is a better choice over the other. So for that reason, we're going to check some of the other choices. Before Hannah made any monthly deposits, the amount in her bank account was $25. Nope, that's what 100 is. After one monthly deposit, the amount in Hannah's bank account was $25. That's also not true, and it also doesn't represent the amount of, that's first of all, that's not true. Second of all, that's not what 25 represents. If you had one monthly deposit, you would have $125 in the account. That's 100 plus 25. Hannah made a total of 25 monthly deposits. Nope, that would just mean that T is equal to 25 in that case. Okay, so 25 here represents the amount that the account is increased by with each monthly deposit. All right, let's move on to question number 6. A customer spent $27 to purchase oranges at $3 per pound. How many pounds of oranges did the customer purchase? Okay, so this one, if you ever had a chemistry course, there's a section in a chemistry course on unit conversion. You could theoretically just look at this and know what to do with these numbers, but we're going to do it the formal way, involving the unit conversion. So let's go ahead and put that right there. Okay. Customer spent $27 to purchase oranges. Okay, so $27. At $3 per pound, how many pounds of oranges did the customer purchase? So we want the end result to be something measured in pounds. So to do that, we need to multiply by pounds per dollar. Okay? So if it's $3 per pound, right? Then that also means that it's 1 pound for every $3. Okay? So it's equivalent to say $3 per pound or 1 pound per $3. So as you can see here, the dollar sign will cancel out. Okay? And we'll be left with something measured in pounds. So the way that we calculate this is multiplying 27 by 1/3, which gives us 9. So the answer here would just be 9. Now, because this is an open-ended question, the answer is just a number. They say in the question what the unit measurement is, and that is pounds. So the answer here is just simply 9. Okay? So let's move on to question number 7. Nasir bought 9 storage bins that were each the same price. He used a coupon for $63 off the entire purchase. The cost for the entire purchase after using the coupon was $27. What was the original price in dollars for one storage bin? So let's go ahead and write up a few things here based off of this question. Let's put this right here. All right, so let's write up a few things first. So it says he bought 9 storage bins. So there's 9 storage bins, okay? Let's let X represent the price of a storage bin. Okay, so X represents the price of a singular storage bin. So if he bought 9 storage bins, then he would have to pay for all 9 storage bins. So it would be 9 times whatever the price of a storage bin is. Then it says he used a coupon for $63 off the entire purchase. So he took this entire purchase right here, which was the original subtotal, and then made it $63 cheaper. So we subtract $63, and the end result of that is the entire purchase price after using the coupon, which is $27. Okay, so now we just need to solve this equation. So we start by adding 63 to both sides, which gives us 90 on this side, and the negative 63 and the 63 cancel out. So 27 plus 63 is equal to 90. That's why that's a 90 right there. And then let's divide both sides of this equation by 9. So 90 divided by 9 is equal to 10. So the price of a single storage bin in dollars is $10. Again, we don't need to write the units because they ask us, or they tell us the original price in dollars. So we just simply say 10. Okay? So the answer there is 10. Moving on to question number 8. It says, for the linear function f, the table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of f of x. Which equation defines f of x? Okay, so let's get a page here. All right. I believe this is the penultimate question, as in the second to last one. So for this video, that is. All right, so let's take a look here. So it says, for the linear function f, the table shows 3 values of x and their corresponding values of f of x. Which equation defines f of x? So this is linear. We know it's linear because of the fact that for every increase in x by 1, f of x increases by the same amount. We can see it increases by 3. Okay. So we know that this must be a linear equation. In addition, all the choices are also linear equations, so we know that that also has to be the case. Okay, so we know the answer has to be linear. That means that it has a slope and a y-intercept. First of all, what is a y-intercept? A y-intercept is the value of the dependent variable, or f of x in this case, whenever the independent variable, or x, is 0. So when x is 0, the value of the dependent variable, or f of x, is equal to 29. So therefore, the y-intercept must be 29. We can see that the y-intercept is 29 in choices A and C. Okay? So we know that we've narrowed it down to either A or C. In addition, what is the slope? The slope represents the difference in y, or difference in f of x in this case, for every increase of x by 1. So we see that x increases by 1 from here to there. How much does f of x increase by from here to here? The answer to that is 3. So the slope of this particular table, of this particular function, is 3. So we know that the answer must be A, because the y-intercept must be 29, and the slope must be 3. And I suppose I'll just use this page for the last question in case I need it. All right, so number 9. Right triangles PQR and STU are similar where P corresponds to S. So these are corresponding angles of the triangles. If the measure of angle Q is 18 degrees, so let's write that down. This is 18 degrees. It's not a very good 18, but I'll try it again. Okay, 18 degrees. What is the measure of angle S? So the question is, what is this measure, which we'll call X? X degrees. Okay. So first of all, let's go ahead and identify a few things. These are both triangles, right? And not only that, they're similar triangles. Since they are similar triangles, corresponding angles must be equivalent. So this must be 18 degrees. Okay. We also know that the sum of all the interior angles of a triangle must add up to 180 degrees. We also know that a right angle, which is this one, must be 90 degrees exactly. So we know that the sum of these 3 angles, x, 18, and 90, must add up to 180. So let's write that in math. X plus 18 plus 90 must be equal to 180. First, let's go ahead and subtract 90 to both sides. So we get x plus 18 is equal to 90, because 180 minus 90 is 90. And let's subtract 18. So 90 minus 18 is 72. So the answer to this question, the corresponding angle, S, must have an angle of 72 degrees. So this would be 72 degrees. Now, you might be wondering, that doesn't look like it's 72 degrees at all, and that's what this part is here for. Figures are not drawn to scale. That effectively means that the image that you see here is not representative of what it would actually look like if you were to actually make a shape that looked like that. Okay? So that was the first 9 questions of practice test number 4 currently, at least at this point in time. I'm sure practice test number 4 is going to change from one year to the next. So I figured I would get this particular set of questions completed before they move on to a new set of practice tests. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and have a great day.